everyone, and welcome to Key at the Scoops. I'm your host, Cooper, the sole admin of AFL information, trade rooms, and results. And wow. 3 rounds of AFL to go, and the ladder cannot be any more closer. Who's the informed team of the competition? Well, would it be stupid to say that it's none of the top 4? Collingwood, 2 losses in a row. Some injuries now to Nick Dacos after 6 weeks, huge out, an injury. Nathan Murphy, they'll miss for a bit. Port Adelaide lost 4 in a row, albeit with injury depleted side, but 4 losses in a row. The Demons, they may be winning, but they're so inconsistent from only just scraped over the line against North Melbourne. They've done it in previous weeks as well. And the other side in that 8 is Brisbane, and they just scraped over the line against the Dockers. So from someone outside the 8, Carlton won 7 in a row after beating my Saints yesterday. Not happy, Jan. The Giants, they had a 7-game winning streak broken by the Swans. Is it the Giants? Is it the Bulldogs who just smashed the Tigers? They're in a bit inconsistent as well. They just lost a week prior. Then you have my Saints. Well, a great start of the game, up by 20-odd at half-time. And then there was a game of 2 halves. We head to the ladder and everything else on the show in a second. But also on the show today, we've got the world-famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang, and I've been banging on about those shit umpires in the Saints, Geelong, and Eagles game, respectively. But they were shit in every game. But these 3 games, those umpires in those games, I would say get rid of them, sack them, boot them, fire them, drop them. Those umpires that umpired in the Saints game yesterday, the Geelong game on Saturday night, and the Eagles game on Saturday afternoon in Marvel, all should not be considered for the AFL Grand Final. I don't care if you're the most experienced umpires. We had Chamberlain, Donlan, O'Gorman in our game. Rubbish. They should not be umpiring in the Grand Final. The ones that umpired in the Geelong game, Andrew Stevens, he's always involved in crap decisions because he's a shit umpire. Then you've got the Essendon West Coast game. Well, yeah, we're going to get to that in a second anyway on Scoops Goes Bang. And then on the show today, we've got my team of the week. I'll review the rounds just gone and upcoming. My Supercoach Talk at an okay score, but not a great score considering how I've been going the last few months. Still a decent score, though. We'll get to that shortly. As I said, preview the rounds just gone and upcoming. And we'll go through the ladder and 3 rounds to go. Who's going to make it? Because from 5th to 8th, it is still up for grabs. All those sides from 5th to 8th could fall out of the 8. So, and all a possibility of that happening. And it also is a possibility that they could say the same. And Sydney and Geelong and Adelaide don't get in. I'm going to get to who I think will be in and for who, if any, during the show today. And also, it dropped early today at 4 p.m. Go check out my goal kicking challenge with Hawthorn AFLW representative Talia and Casey Demon VFLW player Caitlin. It was a really, really good contest. If you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. It's on the channel right now. I'll probably pin in the comment section below. Go check it out. Let me know what you thought on the video, on the actual video itself. Go comment on that video. And yeah, we'll go through it then. And what did you think of the ending of it? Just comment down below in that video, preferably for people that haven't watched it. So go comment in that video what your thoughts are on the match. But I was really appreciative yesterday to film that with Talia from the AFLW side of the Hawks and Caitlin from the KC Demons VFLW. So it was really good fun, really good video. And hope you guys can go smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already on that video, this video, and any other video that I have. Hopefully to have more guests lined up in the future, whether that is for goal kicking challenges, anything at all. So first off, start with this. You want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/Cooper G. Want me to roast a friend, wish someone happy birthday, anything at all, cameo.com/Cooper G. I love doing them videos and keep putting your requests in. And also want to aim for 20 likes for this video. Smash the sub button. When we hit 3K subscribers, there will be some good giveaways. I kid you not. I'm looking at one of the prizes right now. The prizes and the giveaways will be good, but you have to be a subscriber, and those giveaways will be given once we hit 3K. We're about 680 odd away, 690 odd away. So get your mates on board. Sub if you haven't. If you're watching this, not too long ago, I looked at the analytics, and it was about 70% of you that are watching my stuff that aren't subscribed. So please subscribe. Doesn't cost you much. Puts you automatically in the running when you are subscribed. So go sub button, smash that like button, and share this video and channel to amongst your mates. And if you know any AFL, AFLW, VFL, VFLW, or draftees in the men's or women's leagues, please let me know, and we'd love to get more of them on the keep growing and growing in that interview. Well, I'm in talks with some other people for some challenges and interviews up in the future. So that as well. So, and yeah, you know, any AFL draftees that would love to be part of a. Do I want to? I posted about it last week saying if you know any AFL draftees for this year's men's AFL draft, we love to be loves the line, loves the camera, and we love to have a video made of them. I'm not going to give you all the ideas away, but that's generally what it'll be. If that's something they're interested in, hit me up on Instagram, AFL Info Live. I'll put the banner up right here. Go follow my Instagram, AFL Info Live. I would greatly appreciate that's on Instagram. We're over 2,000, 3,000. So I've lost count if it was in the 2,000s or 3,000, but we're about 3,200 or 2,200. So go subscribe, follow my Instagram page, AFL Info Live, Facebook, AFL Information, Trade Rumors and Results, and obviously here on the YouTube channel, AFL Information, Trade Rumors and Results. Would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right. It's time to start with that world. And I mean, it is world. And it's going to be explosive tonight. The world famous segment Scoops goes. Well, the umpiring is a joke. Plain and simple, it's a joke. 4 umpires has not worked. I gave it the benefit of the doubt to give it an opportunity at the start of the season. But it failed, and it's failed big time, and he's stuffing games up for teams. Gold Coast Melbourne was the biggest robbery of my lifetime. That game I've ever seen. I've seen some bullshit umpiring week in and week out, but that game was the worst I'd ever seen. In the quarter alone, there was 8 calls that I said were blatantly bullshit and biased towards Melbourne, not in Gold Coast's favour. They lost that game by one of the barest of margins. And now the chief, who doesn't really complain about umpiring, on that game alone, agreed with 6 of the 8 calls that I brought up. He may have thought about the other 2, and there might have been more. But there were 8 definitive calls that I knew were robbed to the Suns' favour, and they weren't given to him. But then, since then, or before then, and definitely after then, the umpiring is getting worse and worse and worse. It's getting a joke. There's three incidents that strike me. 3 games. The Saints game against Carlton, Geelong game against Port, and the Essendon Eagles game. The Eagles game I'm going to go through. No, bugger it. I'm going to go through the St Kilda game first. This damn Butler decision before halftime when the Saints were up by about 22 points. Now, I'm not saying that the umpiring cost us the game. Get that out of your mind. I'm not blaming the umpires for why we lost. We lost the first half on the second half. But the umpiring to both teams, especially against St Kilda, was absolutely bullshit. This clip you're about to see is the single most worst decision of this season. How the hell can you not pay these hole in the ball? Do you not know what an illegal disposal is, Umps? Some people were telling me, but there's so many rule changes that they lose track of it. But this one doesn't fit that category. This is a blatantly obvious holding the ball that was not given to the Saints 10, 15 metres out directly in front to Butler. We had a great game again. To put us up by about 28 points at halftime. And that, who's to say then that Carlton could have given up? That goal could have won us the game to a degree. Here is the clip and judge for yourself. But I know, and you hear BT in the commentary say how bullshit it was. Well, here it is. Look at that. Gresham tries to grab Hollins. He gets through him. Tries to run a million miles an hour. Hollins drops the ball. I'm sorry. That's holding the ball. And for people that tell me, oh, he got a hand to, he handled that with his left hand. No, he didn't. Watch it again. Gets through Gresham. Butler chases him, pins his left hand. And you say, oh, he handles with his right hand. No. Illegal disposal. Butler grabs his left hand. And that means he loses control of the ball and then just fists it with his right hand. That is blatant cheating from the umpires. Now, don't give me the bullshit excuse that he potentially could have been blindsided. That just makes it worse. Because if he was blindsided, he would have seen that he didn't dispose of it at all. He just dropped it. So how the hell could you not pay that holding the ball? Bullshit. This is probably one of the most angriest times I've gotten angry with umpiring. I don't like the umpires at all. But this clip really pissed me off. At the game, I wish I had it on film. Hear my initial reaction to that. Absolute disgrace. Chamberlain, O'Gorman, and Donlan. If they umpired an AFL grand final this year, that just shows the AFL have no integrity at all. Absolute disgrace. Seriously, pathetic. Show it again, one more time. Gets through Gresham. He's stepped about 10 times before that. Butler comes about, drops it, pins his left hand, drops it, and punches it with his right hand. That is not a handball. That's not a bloody handball. You're a disgrace, umpires. She'll be sacked. Fired, as a mate of mine would say. Given the boot. Absolute disgrace. Now, the Port Adelaide Geelong game. There was many examples in this game where Port Adelaide got stuffed. But it's Geelong. What's new? Free kick after free kick after free kick. Yeah, some people say, oh, look at the free kick differential. It's not always about the numbers. Obviously, that plays some part to it, but not the whole part. It's where you get them. And it was 31-19 in favour of Geelong in Geelong Saturday night. Now, I know there's nothing that says the numbers need to be even, and I've said that in the past. It doesn't have to be even. But that's a big gap. And when there's blatant decisions in this game, the Connor Rosie one late was a joke. And the one, to this day, I'm still questioning what the freaking hell it was for, which resulted in, surprise, surprise, a Geelong Jeremy Cameron goal in the third or fourth quarter. Jonas went to contest the ball in a body-on-body, didn't use his hand, shoulder, nothing. So his hip into Cameron's waist or hip. And Jonas marked it. And Cameron got a free. I don't know what it could have been for, because the only two things it could have been for was chopping the arms, which he didn't even use his hand, or front on contact, which he didn't touch him either. Like, far out. This umpiring is a joke. There's many more Port Adelaide examples I could pull up, but I'm not allowed to play clips that have audio, which will get copyrighted by the AFL, funnily enough. They don't like people picking up on these shit decisions. Like, that's a joke. And now to the next one, the final one, the Bombers-Eagles game. Speaking of some Essendon fans, they know they didn't deserve the win. Not just because from this next umpiring court decision I'm about to tell you, but just how they played in general. The Eagles deserved the win. And the Eagles were robbed of the win. They would have moved off the bottom of the ladder too. Now you can say, do they want to be last off a Harley Reid or not? That's a different story. They may trade that pick, even if they finished second last. You don't know. But they were robbed. The Eagles were robbed. Robbed right in front of me and everyone watching. So the umpiring, the front on contact rule, whether you like it or not, has been a rule for a while. Do the umpires not know their own rules? And don't give me this is a rule that's been there for a while, so you can't give me that excuse it's new. And even if it's new, if people are bad at their job, they get fired or sacked, suspended, whatever. So why isn't the umpire sacked here? The most blatant and obvious decision this year, or one of, was not paid Noah Long, the young Eagles small forward, in the goal square. They lost the game by a point. So don't give me the bullshit that Andrew Phillips went down the other end and missed, so it didn't matter anyway. That's 1 point, and they lost by a point. Stuffed them up. And even then, Noah Long would have kicked the bloody goal from the goal square. It was 5 freaking metres out. Blake, I don't know who the Essendon player was, but front on contact was deliberate here. Smashed into Long, not paid. Are you freaking kidding me? The umpire is shit week in, week out. But if I can give you 3 instances that essentially cost those 3 teams the game or the momentum, the impact, whatever, then you know the umpiring is shit. I may harp on it every week and people whinge and saying I'm saying that's why we lost the game. No, champ. I didn't say that's why we lost the game. Definitely fucked our momentum. And for the Eagles, it cost them the game. And Port were even basically at that point when Jeremy Cameron got that free. There was more cheap frees. Ollie Henry marked one over the bloody goal point line. And it was paid a mark. The whole ball was over. If I can see it and other people can see it, how can the people in the arc or the stupid umpires not see it? I'm yelling for a reason. The umpiring is shit. Get rid of 4 umpires. Oh, we had another one in the St Kilda game. They had 3 times. They pointed their hand one direction to say, yep, free kick to whoever. And the players set up for that position. And then 2 seconds later, 5 seconds later, even a bit later, point the other way. Do you not know who's who? That's what I said. O'Gorman, Donlan, Chamberlain, out. No grand final for you. Same with the ones in the Essendon game. No granny for you. And in the Port game, mate, you don't deserve your job, Andrew Stevens. Unbelievable. This umpiring is a laugh. It's a joke. It's a rort. Whatever word you want to use. It is absolutely crap. Crap. The umpiring is a joke. And things need to be changed. Lift your game. Pathetic. You know, when I had an emergency addition to the world famous Scoops S3 Touk Miller, Dayne Zorko scenario. Now, I've had a lot of debate about this with people on my live streams every night that we do a live stream. Now, I clearly know that you can't grab someone down low on a football field or any point. That's pretty poor from Touk Miller, the Suns co-captain, if he did it on purpose. I still feel that I don't think he did it on purpose. I feel that in the tackle with Zorko, he flipped over and his hand just decided to just by coincidence landed on Zorko's nuts. So, you know, I'm not. The reason I bring this up, it's not so much about the Zorko or Miller. It's the AFL's handling of this. On Monday last week, and why they have to take this long to give a decision on is ridiculous for starters. How can you, on Monday, clear day, Touk Miller on Monday? They said nothing to see here. Then Dayne Zorko had to talk about it on radio on SEN in Queensland on Tuesday. And then the investigation was apparently, according to some journalists, was back open. How could you reopen something you just cleared someone for? And the evidence was no different to what it was bloody on Monday when you said it was nothing to see here. Then on Thursday, you suspended Touk Miller 1 hour before team selection. And the Suns were extremely disappointed. Their quote, not my words, theirs. They accept the decision, but they're extremely disappointed. They don't accept the decision. They're just trying to not cop a fine for saying what they really want to say. And I'll say it for them. A joke. The AFL is a joke. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, and they really should be ashamed of themselves. I don't care who's in charge, whether it's Gill, Andrew Dillon, whoever's in charge of the Michael Christian, get rid of him. He should have been gone years ago. Useless. The tribunal people that represent them are useless. And for them on Thursday to then say the reason they gave Zorko Miller a week was because, and they didn't give it earlier, was because they didn't have the footage to suspend Miller. I'm sorry. How the hell did I have the footage? How did any average fan have the footage? It was on TV, mate. It was on TV. The same footage you said you didn't have Monday, we seen Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, now. And you didn't have it till 5 days later? The AFL make excuses for their rubbish excuses and explanations. Do they ever admit they're wrong? They don't know how to handle shit. They still don't know how to handle footy, whatever the role Brad Scott had. They still haven't filled that up. And that was a year ago. They're a disgrace. They really are. The AFL, lift your game. Pathetic. I'm going to tell you each and every week until you actually lift your game. I'll say what I really think. I'm not going to sugarcoat things like what I just said. Those examples and this Touk Miller Zorko handling by the AFL just shows how stuffed they really are, and they don't know what they're doing. How about they start listening to the fans a bit more? We know more than you. Hope you guys enjoyed the most explosive ever edition of the world-famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Now, it's time to go through my round 21 AFL Team of the Week. Pretty easy decisions this week, to be honest, but we'll go through that right now. From the back line first, the pockets. Nick Newman and Jack Siebel. Full forward, James Sicily. The flankers, Mitch Hinge and Nick Hind. Centre half back, Callum Wilkie. Wingman, Mason Wood and Angus Brayshaw. Centreman, Marcus Bontempelli. Flankers, half forward line flankers, Cole Langford and Ollie Henry. Centre half forward, Jamara Ugle-Hagan. Forward pockets, Toby Green and Luke Bruce. Full forward, Hayden McLean. Ruckman, Luke Jackson. Rovers, Tom Green and Zach Butters. Interchange, Finn McGuinness, Brad Crouch, Caleb Sarong and Tim Kelly. Sub, Matt Crouch. In the four emergencies, Will Day, Connor Nash, Darcy Parish and Lockie Hunter. Now, reasons for the team. The backman, well, Newman had 35 disposals. Was one of Carlton's best players, to be honest. Actually, no. I forgot. All right. No. I've just realised who I've left out, and no. All right, I'm going to make my executive decision here live on the air. I've got to fix something here. I've got one player I want to add in for a certain position. Shite. Oh no. All right. This is going to be a bit of a toughie. All right. Live on the air, I'm making an executive decision. That's going to be controversial, I know. I didn't want to do this. I was going to have the Crouch brothers reunited. But I've had to make a change. Didn't want to do this, but I have to do it. It has to be done. So I've made an executive decision. So I'm going to have to show you the edited part. I've added Blake Acres to the bench there. Blake Acres from Carlton. It was their best player on the weekend. And then I've put Caleb Sarong to the sub, and Matty Crouch has unfortunately fallen out to the emergencies. There you go. Live on the air, I've made a change. Live on the show. A first for this show. That I actually physically, instead of just making a mistake and not editing the right name, I've had to actually physically change my opinion live on the air. I read, I'm like, no. Where's Blakey Acres? I forgot about him. Yep, he was terrific yesterday. So reasons. Nick Newman, while 35 touches was one of their best players and decent efficiency of halfback. James Sicily, 37 disposals, 19 marks, a lot of 1%ers, intercept possessions. Do I have to go any further? Absolute beast of James Sicily. Welcome back to the Hawks. Jack Zeeb, the veteran, is retiring at the end of the year. 100 Zeebs on your career. Terrific. Underrated. Still should be playing every week. 32 disposals. Over 770 metres gained. Zeebs is a great player. And I would happily take him at St Kilda for a year. He's still playing really well. And he has experience and decent kick as well, and metres gained and everything. Zeeble. Halfback line, Mitch Hinge, 31 odd disposals, was one of the best players on the ground for the Crows. Cal Wilkie kept Charlie Curnow to 1 goal. Him and Battle, I suppose you give Battle some credit too. Double teaming Curnow. Curnow got a bit of the ball, but was more up the ground, about 100 metres to 80 metres out. So it didn't really 80 to 100 metres out. It didn't really impact the game, and he only hit on the scoreboard late through a turnover. So not Wilkie's turnover, but the team Saints turnover. So, and also a handball from Akers, believe it or not. So on the pocket. So could have kicked in himself, Akers. Had a shot himself. So Curnow could have kicked none. Curnow has been held goalless, by the way, guys, if you didn't know this, and girls. Round 1, 2022. Cal Wilkie did a great job. Deserves spot on the team. He had about 20 odd disposals himself and had a good game and kept Curnow to 1 goal, as I said. Nick Hine was one of the best players on the ground for the Bombers. 31 disposals, run off halfback. He's very important to them. He's got quick speed. He has a little chip kick. It reminds me of my mate Jack Sinclair, in terms of, no, Sinclair's way better before you come at me. He's our best player this year. But he kind of reminds me of Stinks, where he has that little dash of speed and little chip kick, run on, get the ball, and then have a second touch. Not your chip sideways bullshit. He kicks it forward and you run straight past like Sinks does and gets the ball. And had a great game, Nick Hine. He should get another contract to the Bombers if he hasn't got one already. Mason Wood on the wing, 36 disposals. He did have a little bit of turnovers, but he had a lot of 1%ers and great marks. He had like 13 marks, about 80% efficiency. So he still had a really good game, Mason Wood. Some crucial errors, but he made up for it with his all-round game, which was terrific. Angus Brayshaw, 37 disposals, deserves spot on the team. Marcus Bontempelli, 3 goals, 32 disposals. Not the greatest efficiency, but this time he impacted the game better than some other weeks, so hence why he's in the team. Half form on Cole Langford, kicked 5. To be honest, I didn't want to put Cole Langford in the team. Kicked 4 goals early in the game in 1 quarter. Kicked the match winner late. Tainted one, if you ask me. Shouldn't have been the match winner. Should have been the chunk time goal. But the Eagles were robbed. They were robbed. Yeah, but unbelievable, really. He had a good game though in that that quarter where he kicked 4 goals. Chamara kicked 5, was an obvious choice there. Ollie Henry kicked 4, some important goals. That controversial one over the goal line though. But other than that, he had a pretty decent game, mainly in the first half. But he still had a I thought he did a pretty good game though. Chamara and Ollie Henry, Toby Green, one of the best players on the ground again for the Giants. Didn't have the biggest numbers and kicked 2 or 3 only, but deserved a spot on the team, did well. Hayden McLean kicked 4, was one of the Swans' best players. Lukey Bruce popped up for 3 in a big win over the Pies, which will give Hawks very much a lot of credit very shortly. Luke Jackson, as he fought, almost beat him on hit-outs, but he had double the possessions and a goal. So instead of the ruckman, Witts and O'Brien were in a similar case. I could have given it to Witts, but I went with Luke Jackson. Tom Green back from injury. Left. Shows how important he is. 37 disposals, great efficiency, clearances, contested possessions. I would love Tom Green at the Saints. He's the midfielder the Saints should be targeting. Obviously, Andy Brayshaw too. It's 2 of my favourite midfielders from other clubs. Andy Brayshaw and Tom Green. Zach Butters, he was terrific. And Connor Rosie, you can add to that list too. Zach Butters, he was terrific. It was Paul's best player. I don't care what people think. He was the clear best on ground for me in that game, to be honest. Plain and simple. Fantastic. And you can add Connor Rosie. You could say Connor Rosie stiff not even to make this team. He'd be on that list of emergencies. I didn't physically put him there, but he's on that list of emergencies. Finn McGuinness tagged Nick Dacos. A great game. Dacos had 5 possessions in 3 quarters and a goal. The goal was only from a cheap argy-bargy with the team, with the Hawks and Pies guys. Really, he had 4 touches and no goals. He had no impact. Subbed off. Well, not subbed off. We went off Hoblin 2 minutes into the last quarter. Now we find out he's out for the next 6 weeks with a knee injury, so wish Dacos all the best. His Brownlow chances in trouble. Is he Scoops medal chances in doubt? You won't know until week 1 round 24 and week 1 of the finals. Yeah, so he deserves a spot automatically. I did it for Willem Drew when he did it to Dacos, so Finn McGuinness gets in as well. Brett Crouch, a goal, 31 disposals, 80-odd% efficiency, like 8 clearances, had a good game. Disappointing that he didn't keep it up in the last quarter, but he wasn't alone. He had a great game. He was the best midfielder for us by far. Steely and co lowered their colours, but he was still good. So he was almost a lock for the on field, probably for the spot of Brayshaw, but because of his last quarter not getting a touch, he's had been put to the bench. Blake Acres was the best on the ground for Carlton, 2 goals, 27 disposals, but the impact set up that Kerno goal. So he did a lot of good things, Blake Acres. The former Saint and Docker had probably one of the best games of his career. Underrated player is Blake Acres. I've said it when he was at St Kilda. I loved Blake Acres at the Saints. I was disappointed when he went to Freo, part of that Brett Hill trade, which didn't really work in the end, unfortunately. And yeah, then he went to Freo, then they lowballed him. So 2 clubs let him go for nothing, really, and it was pretty pathetic, if you ask me. I would love Blake Acres back at the Saints, still. He's gotten a lot more consistent, though. That was probably his biggest problem, being inconsistent, but he now is a lot more consistent, and his running and kicking is still the same, but he's having more impact on the game. And Tim Kelly was West Coast best player, and he kept him in the game. 80-odd% efficiency, 27 disposals. A lot of the experienced players for the Eagles did let them down early, but he was good, though, throughout the whole game. A bit like Mason, we had a few crucial mistakes, but he did make up for the rest of the game. And Caleb Sarong, 35 disposals was good, but I had to push him to the sub, as you heard. I put Blake Acres on the team. Crouch, Day, Nash, Parrish, and Hunter were the next midfielders. Hunter for the wing spot. There you have it. That's my team of the week. Now let's go through the ladder. 3 rounds to go, and it's anyone's game or anyone's spot to make the 8. Let me get that banner up. By the way, also remember, if you haven't checked out the Scoops Gold King Challenge, there's myself, Talia from Hawthorn AFLW side, AFLW, first AFLW player I've had on the channel, so I really appreciate Talia, and Caitlin from Casey Demons of AFLW side. Go check that if you haven't already. All right. That should be pinned in the comment section. If not, go check out the recent videos. It's on there on the channel right now, and hopefully it's going well for the views and likes, etc. Now the ladder. Now, we'll cancel out Richmond from 13th all the way down to Gold Coast, Freo, Hawthorn, North, and West Coast out. So North and West Coast got their own mini battle for the. I thought North would get a win yesterday. They tracked a 28-point lead. And the Eagles, they were robbed. So really, the Eagles have got. I know they got the Crows coming up, and they got the Bulldogs. I've had a blank who their third opponent is, but I think they'll finish last. Unfortunately, the North. Well, they got Gold Coast in the last game. Yeah, but I don't think they'll both win a game now. North game is in Tassie though, but yeah, I don't think that'll change. And Hawthorn, Freo, Gold Coast, Richmond, they're eliminated. Now, realistically, and Essendon are realistically eliminated too, but this mathematical possibility, let's get with the mix. So the race is down to 12. From 5th to 12th, if you guys remember, I adamantly had said for weeks, and especially during my ladder predictions, that anywhere from 5th to 12th could go anywhere. And it's funny that the 4 teams that are in the top 4 right now are the 4 I had in the top 4. Don't remember the exact order, but they're the 4 teams I had in the top 4. So 5th to 12th, I did say at the time that it could be, they could go, you could roughly in any order, in any teams that make it and miss out. I had Geelong not make it, and I got ridiculed for it, and they probably might not get in there. And if they do, they only scrape in. Let's be real. So that could happen. Obviously had my Saints in. Did not have the Giants in, but I'll be on the Giants bandwagon still. Still, they're no longer the dark horse. Their main business, Giants still. Only close loss to the Swans in the Derby. I had my Saints in. Didn't have the Bulldogs in. And I might have Carlton 9th. So I would have had Freo in, Sydney in, Freo and Sydney, but Bulldogs and GWS. They Carlton 9th. I must have put Geelong 8th. Did I? I can't even remember. It was, yeah, it must have been. I must have had Geelong in at 8th. But I didn't really think they were going to make it. It was just more the teams below them. I think they'd have finished just better then. But anyway, So from 5th to 12th, the top 4 is set. The order is not. Collingwood will finish on top. They're not in good form, but in the last 2 games, but they'll finish on top. Melbourne, Brisbane, and Port could come down a percentage. Port aren't going to make it the percentage. So they'd have to win an extra game over Melbourne and Brisbane. But from 5th to 12th, Carlton are on 46 points. In 6th place, in 7th and 8th on 44 points, 2 points behind Carlton, are the Western Bulldogs, St Kilda, and GWS. The Western Bulldogs percentage is of 109.0, the Saints is 104.9, and the Giants is 101.6. Then in 9th, you got Geelong on 42 points at a percentage of 119.2. I bring that up because it competes with Carlton. And Sydney's in 10th place on 42 points, also 2 points out of the 8, 2 points out of the 8, like Geelong on 111.3. So their percentage is a little bit behind the Carlton Footy Club and a bit more behind Geelong. And in 11th place, you got Adelaide on 40 points at a percentage of 117.1. So their percentage is better than almost anyone's that they're competing with. In fact, it is better than anyone's they're competing with. That's not got a draw. And Essendon on 40 points at 98.5. I know Essendon got GWS and Collingwood in the last 2 games. And then in this week, they have Essendon, they have North Melbourne, which they should win, if we're being honest, for Geelong. For Essendon, they're not winning the other 2. So that will put them on 44, so they're not making it. And the percentage is already below the teams in the 8. So they're out for me. Out. So realistically for me, it's down to 11. But the Crows. So the Crows have the Eagles in the last game, which I'm a bit worried about. They got Sydney next week. And this week, the Crows have the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba. I see them losing to Brisbane, beating West Coast. So that puts them on 44. It's a game against the Swans. That could be very crucial. I have the Swans winning that. Even though it's in Adelaide. It's clearly 50-50. So Adelaide would put them on 40. If they beat Sydney, I think they make it. Maybe. No guaranteed. Because their percentage will be better than the Saints, the Bulldogs, and the Giants. So the Bulldogs and the Giants and the Saints would have to win 2, not 1. Because their percentage would be lower than the Crows. And they got West Coast in the last game, so they probably built more percentage in Perth that game, though. So I'm going to say they lose. If I have them losing to Sydney, they're out. If they beat Sydney, they probably make it. So I'm going to say they win that against Sydney and they make it on percentage on 48. So then that leaves the Swans on 42. They have the Demons in the last game. I got them losing that. They're a chance to win that. I just had them losing Adelaide. And then this week, Swans. Who do they have this week? The Swans have Sydney have Gold Coast at the SCG. I have them winning that. So that puts them on 46, which you think eliminates them. Geelong, they've got Collingwood. They lose that for me. They got my Saints. They lose that for me. Then they lose to the Bulldogs in the last game, or they might win that. Well, that would put them on 46 if they win that, which means they're technically eliminated as well, you would think, unless Bulldogs, Saints, and GWS lost all 3, which is not happening. So they'd be out. So the Crows are still the question mark. So in other words, I've got the Crows in on percentage. So that will put them on 48. So that leaves the Bulldogs, the Saints, and the Giants on 44. So those 2 teams would have to win 2 games to pass the Crows if the Crows win 2. Puts them on 48 because their percentage is not going to catch up. So really, for me, if Adelaide win 2, they're in the percentage at the moment. The Bulldogs, St Kilda, and GWS. GWS, they have Essendon, which they win for me. They've got Carlton in the last game, which apparently meant to be the twilight game Tom Morris was reporting. I've got the Giants beating Essendon. This week, they got the Power in Adelaide. I got them. I want them to win, but I don't for the ladder's sake, so I'm going to go the Power there. So I got the Giants losing that, winning the Essendon game. That puts them on 48 with a game to go. It's Carlton. Then I'll probably, depending on how Carlton's going, being 2 points ahead, I probably want the Carlton to win, but I'm going to tip the Giants in that, which puts them on 48 at 52, which means they're safe. Means they're safe. Then we go to my Saints. We've got Geelong. Richmond. It's a win for me. That's a 48. Geelong. That's a win. That puts us at 52. Then a loss to Brisbane at the Gabba in the last game. That puts us on 52. That has the Saints and the Giants on 52. So they are both in. So it's going to be very, very interesting there. So I've got the Saints and Giants on 52 points. Then that leaves the Bulldogs. They have got the Eagles. They win that. They've got Geelong in the last game. I have them losing that. And then this week they got Hawthorn. They win that. So they win 2. And it puts them on 52 as well. So now those things I just said on 52 are not necessarily safe. If they go to 52, well, the Crows would have to win 3 then. So, okay, so the Crows would have to win 3 then if that happens. If the Saints, Bulldogs, and Giants win 2 games. That leaves Carlton. They're on 46 points. We remember I have Adelaide finishing on 48 points. So Carlton only need to win 1 game. Carlton have Melbourne this week. I have them losing that. Not that Melbourne are going good themselves. We've got Melbourne winning that. So that leaves them still on 46 there. They are then 2 points still behind Adelaide. Then Carlton play the Giants in the last game. I have them losing that. So Carlton would have to win their middle game, which essentially says if Carlton or Adelaide make it. Carlton's last middle game is Gold Coast at Heritage Bank. Gold Coast can win this, but it is important that one of Carlton or Adelaide would get in off this result. And I am going the Suns to win that, which means the Crows make it and Carlton fall out. It's a tough ladder to pick, but boy, oh boy, wowee, it is interesting to say the least. All right. Let's go through reviewing round 21. Let me get that banner up. Started all the way back on Friday night. It was the Bulldogs smashing the Tigers. Season over for Richmond. 126. The Western Bulldogs defeated Richmond 71. Bulldogs were 55 points. Not good for the Tigers. Bonampally, Liberatore, Norton, and Hugo Hagan were the Bulldogs' best players. Richmond, Will McGuire to get the job. We'll have to wait and see there. Essendon, 73, defeated the Eagles 72 by 1 point. We mentioned it earlier in Scoops S3. I'm not going to repeat it, but it was embarrassing to say the least. Essendon did not deserve that win at all. Kelly was their best player. Langford kicking 5, but they didn't deserve the win. The umpiring was crap, as I mentioned earlier. The Suns and the Crows, 89-61, Adelaide by 28 points. Not good win at all. 28 points. Adelaide get the win there. The Suns, they missed opportunities. When they went into attacking the forward line in the first quarter, they had 5 points I think they kicked. But not only did they miss them, when they went in 50, it was that last kick. Adelaide was sitting players about 25 metres out. Gold players sitting at the back. They couldn't get the ball over them. That's what cost them. But then they came back to their credit and even the game in the next 3 quarters, but it wasn't enough, unfortunately, as the Crows won by 28 points. Witts was injured. I wish my mate, Powley, all the best, which looks like another serious leg injury. He's had second one in a couple of years, so I wish Powley all the best. He was good on the weekend, though, before he got into the last quarter. He had 20 disposals at 3 quarter time, so he had a good game. Suns missed Miller in the midfield. Anderson and Rowell were a bit quiet for the Crows. Laird and Crouch and Dawson was some of their better players, like in Murphy as well. The upset of the round, the Hawks 105 smashed the Pies 73, Hawthorn by 32. They tagged Dacos, McGuinness. Will Day was good. Sicily was good. Lewis was good. Bruce was good. Connor Nash was good. The whole side was good. And the Pies have question marks now on their season, as we mentioned earlier through there with the ladder. Dacos out for 6 weeks. Murphy's apparently going to miss about 3 weeks for an injury or something like that. It's a big loss, though, for the Pies losing Nick Dacos. Geelong in 97 defeated the Power 85, Geelong by 12. Well, they got lucky. Plain and simple. They got very, very lucky. I mentioned earlier the umpire was crap. Only Henry was their best player for the Power. Butters and Rosie were good. We only kicked 4, but a lot of them were out the back. So, I mean, kick them how you kick them, I suppose. The Giants, 85, 96 Sydney. Swans by 11. Not a good win. A good win for the Swans. An important win to keep their finals hopes alive. The Giants lose their 7-game losing streak. Toby Green was good. It rained in the last little bit of the game. But the Giants could not get the job there. Hickey came back in the team. McLean kicked 4. Chad Warner kicked an important goal late, and he let them know about it, all right, Chad Warner. 11-point win there over the Giants. Tom Green was terrific as well. Sunday games, North Melbourne 71, defeated by the Demons 103, Melbourne by 32. Well, what's to say there? Then North Melbourne had a 28-point lead. They just really blew it, and then Melbourne took control late in the third and fourth quarter. And that was it for North. Pretty disappointing. Brayshaw was their best player, along with Viney. And North Melbourne, well, Jack Lee was their best. Sunday, 54, St Kilda, Carlton 73, Carlton by 19. Taylor 2 half starts so well. Have that controversial Butler call not given, could have been 28 at halftime, but it wasn't. We dominated the first half. They dominated the second half. Akers, Newman, some of their better players. Pitnet got beaten by Marshall badly in the first half, and then Pitnet probably beat Marshall in the second half. So it's a tale of 2 halves for the Saints as a whole. Really disappointing. Stealing was quiet. Cripps didn't have much impact, so I suppose you say he negated him a bit. Yeah, it's a disappointing loss. Hopefully, Membry comes back in after kicking 4 on the weekend in the 2s. Come in for probably Caminiti or Sharman. Yeah, we have Seb Ross potentially come back from a hamstring injury. Bringing in the experience. Billings will come in as well, who was a carryover emergency this week, and hopefully get the win. But Blake Acres was Carlton's best player by far. Freo v Brisbane, 74-77. Brisbane by 3 points. Freo played well. They were in it the whole game. They were in front for most of it. Not a big margin, a goal or so, a couple of points here and there. Same to Brisbane, but I think Freo deserved the win. But Brisbane just pinched on the line. Hipple got a goal late. Danahertz good moments late in the ruck over Darcy Ford in the end. Jackson was Freo's play with Sarong. And Brisbane's best player was probably there was no clear standout, but I suppose Neil was one of their better players as well, and Jared Berry. Dunkley was quiet in his game this week. Very disappointing for my Supercoach and everything like that. Now, let's go review the round 22 games. And some interesting games going into with 3 rounds to go. We start on Friday night at the MCG. It's Geelong, Collingwood hosting Geelong, 7:50 Victorian time. I'll be tipping the Pies, plain and simple there. Saturday at Marvel Chambers, North Melbourne hosting Essendon, 1:45 Saturday Vic time. I'll be tipping Essendon. Swans v Suns, 1:45 Saturday, the SCG. I'll be tipping the Swans. 4:35 at the Gabba. It's Brisbane hosting Adelaide. I'm going to go the Brisbane Lions. 4:35 Vic time at the Gabba. Lions Crows. I'll be tipping the Lions, and please win Brisbane. Carlton v Melbourne, an interesting clash, a big clash. 7:25 Saturday night at the G. I'll be tipping Melbourne. There. It's a tough one though. Eagles, Freo, the Derby, Saturday night, 8:10 Victorian time, 6:10 Perth time at Optus Stadium. I'll be tipping the Dockers there. Sunday, 1:10 Vic time in Tasmania, UTAS Stadium in Launceston. Orthodox in the Bulldogs. I'm going to tip the Bulldogs. The Hawks are great win against the Pies. Say they can't do it to the Bulldogs. I'll tip the Bulldogs to be safe, but don't write off the Hawks. Maddie's match Sunday, 3:20 at Marvel Saints. My Saints hosting Richmond. They just must win, plain and simple Saints. Get the win, bring in Billings, Membry, and Ross, and let's get the bloody win 1 week at a time and get that step close to potentially playing finals. Come on. And the final game of the round, Sunday at 4:40 at the Adelaide Oval. It's Port Adelaide hosting GWS. I'm tipping the Power. Hopefully get a few players back from injury, but don't write off the Giants. If they win this, they'll probably make the 8 if they don't already. So I'm tipping Port Adelaide, though, only because of the Adelaide Oval, and she just had a close loss against the Swans. Now let's quickly go through my Supercoach team. I scored 2,266. Yeah, 2,266, top 6%. Yeah, I've had to use my last trade. I brought in James Sicily for Nick Dacos, who's obviously out injured. My team is Jordan Dawson, Sinclair, Stewart, Sicily, Day and Ryan. Midfield on field, Aled, Brayshaw, Neil, Real, Petrarca, Sarong, Jack Steele, and Cripps. Fortunately, I can't show Paddy Cripps because I wanted to. That midfield bench is not just Buffett. It is Luke Nankervis. I don't know why that wasn't updated, but anyway, here we are. Luke Nankervis. Sorry, I just had to edit that. Luke Nankervis. All right. There, yep, he's on the bench. He's my cover with Fletcher. So that's interesting there. I hope I don't get any more injuries now. But 3 rounds to get through, no injuries. Luke Nankervis. Roberts has been playing in the twos last 2 weeks. Come on, Sydney, give him a game. And Angren was the sub. He was a late in. He wasn't originally the sub. Cumming was meant to be the sub. Then he got changed. And Angren, Rux, Witts and Briggs. Forwards on field, Butters, Sheasel, Canelio, Rosie, Taranto, Goulden. Bench cover is Ryan Marrick. So Ryan Marrick is my main cover in the back line on the bench. I need him to play and keep his spot. The midfield, I need Luke Nankervis to keep his spot. And hopefully Angren can keep spot on field. And Matt Roberts, I hope he can just get in to be safe. Then I can kind of give him that more security up forward because I can swap Drury and Angren or Roberts around to the forward line with Marrick, need be. In the back line, I've got no cover really there. Osen Mullen's the only one that realistically will get a game, and I don't think he doesn't deserve a game, number one, and I don't think he would actually get one anyway. But simply, my final thoughts are simply this. You want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/Cooper G. Want me to roast a friend, wish someone a happy birthday, anything at all, cameo.com/Cooper G. Thank you all. Until next week, have a great one. The most important thing of all to remember is go to the Saints and, of course, acknowledge me, the one, but also go check out my recent goal kicking challenge. It's on the channel right now. Me versus Talia, an AFLW youngster from the Hawks, and Casey Demons youngster from the VFLW side, Caitlin. Go check that out. Thank you all. Until then, or until the next video, which I'll probably do more videos throughout the week as general. Hopefully more interviews lined up and goal kicking challenges and everything like that. Trying to get more guests for you guys and girls. So I really appreciate you all. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Want to aim for 20 likes to this video. Before you leave, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And get your mates on board and share the video around. Thank you. Go Saints. And of course, acknowledge me, the one, and all aboard the Filippo train.